Hi everyone! From the creepy crawlies to the weird plants growing from desolate zones, here we talk about our fixations, whether that be cannibalism or flowers. Welcome to the basement.
Yay!
I always wait for the sparkles first. But hi, I'm Glydel.
I'm Julia.
I'm Ariana.
And today we are going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, or
Nerds.
D&D. You called me a nerd last time.
I did.
Be original.
Everyone's a nerd, but
Everyone's
Julia.
a nerd. I'm the one true
I am
non-nerd.
literally friends
just too
with
cool.
entirely science research people.
You
We're
know
all
what? I see how it is.
I'm just saying, it's
Okay.
just in our nature.
Got some interclass wars here. Whoa.
Whoa.
Chill out, Glydel.
So, what is D&D? Funny how you asked that, because I'm right here. And today... Julia's absolutely cringing at me. Hey, everyone. Welcome to today's episode. Today, we're going to learn about D&D. And
You're
what
the
is
Garage Goblin.
I am the Garage Goblin. I'm going to stop using that voice. I hate it. But D&D is Dungeons and Dragons, which is a tabletop role-playing game about Dungeons and Dragons. Not really. But you make stuff up and you roll with it. That's not exactly what it is. But at this point, it might just well be. Because it originally was created for fantasy adventures and all that stuff. And now I'm a 13-year-old who draws for DeviantArt. So that's... So is there really much fantasy
Okay,
anymore?
let's put a bit more context on all of that.
Oh no. The context happening. Don't worry.
Okay.
Like I said, it's a tabletop role playing game. You just pretend that you are pretend's too light of a word. You get invested in the story. You get invested in the world, and together with your friends and this person called the Dungeon Master, who narrates your adventure, create this story, and if you so choose, solve puzzles and fight monsters.
I mean, it is pretend though.
It is pretend.
I'm not getting the Riverdale bull. Like, no. You cannot die from Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, you can't. I was not going to say you can.
Okay.
I'm not that delusional.
All right.
Crazy.
You're not going to drink poison because the cards challenge you?
But,
Tangent aside.
But the pretend part has a childish connotation.
It
Childish
doesn't have to.
connotation.
Why can't we just play pretend and not be children? I think that's a societal issue.
Mm-hmm.
Fair point.
Slay.
So we are playing pretend,
The
basically.
smallest sleigh.
So I guess kind of technical. It plays under a D20 system, which if you ever heard the term critical role or critical failure or critical success, then you're talking about D&D most of the time.
You mean a critical hit and a critical miss?
And
Are
a
those the
natural
phrases?
20?
There's such a thing called a critical failure. Don't guess.
No, there's
Yeah,
critical failure.
But what is a critical success?
Yeah.
I don't know. You just get a...
That's a nat 20, my friend.
I don't know. People call it that too.
Okay.
And I'll fight them. Single-handedly.
All I'm saying is I've only played like 1.5 D&D campaigns, and I seem to know a little bit more about the lingo. Just saying.
Natural 20. Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay. I also like to call D&D when theater kids don't have enough theater in their life.
Hey.
I didn't say that was a personal attack against you.
I'm not saying that it's a personal attack against me. I'm just saying that not everyone has to be a theater kid to enjoy it.
That's true. I got my fair share of theater.
Yeah, I'm down
I'm
with
not
theater.
a theater kid.
That's why I also called it. It is also called not okay. That's what I personally like to think of it because, well, I guess role playing requires like a lot of acting and stuff. I promise I know what I'm talking about. But
Swear.
I swear. Just a little side note, Julia may be actually more informed about this subject than I am. But I did decide to talk about it because the pandemic does wonderful things to your brain and wants to make you try new things.
All right, so let's get to the meat of things,
Let's
yes?
get to the meat of things. I was going to go over a very inaccurate way to describe all the D&D classes.
Okay.
So...
How so?
So creating your character is a process because you have to choose which race or species they are. You choose a class. I'm not going to go too much into technicality stuff because I want to focus less on the technical stuff of D&D and talk more about the stories I have with D&D.
We ain't gonna teach you how to play.
We're not teaching you how to play. If you're here if you're here because you thought that we're gonna teach you how to play, you're wrong, and I'm sorry because I'm not here to teach anyone how to play. There's many wonderful resources
Listen, Matthew
online.
Mercer can teach you. Just
Exactly.
Matthew Mercer can teach you, and then if you don't know who that is, this is your beginning of the D&D adventure.
Yes.
Matthew Mercer, Griffin McElroy,
Griffin McElroy.
Brennan Lee Mulligan, like snaps all around.
How I learned mostly how to dungeon master was listening to like Critical Role episodes and kind of being inspired by Matt's play style and then eventually learning to evolve into my own. But that everyone starts somewhere, so it's good. And I'm not going to count how many. There are a lot of D&D classes. Julia's trying to count on her fingers. So first off I have here is the Barbarian, which is if you want to punch things.
Punch things very good.
You punch things extremely well. It's your proficiency. It's your specialty. Sorcerers, I just call them magicians. They're just innate magicians.
When I first started D&D, I really honed in on the difference between a sorcerer, warlock, and wizard. Because
Oh,
to
no,
me,
I know the
they're
difference.
all wizards.
Oh yeah, same.
They're
But-
just wizards with different flavors.
Yeah, one is the royalty kind of just like it's based by your blood. The other
Sorceress.
one's based by your god, and then the other one is there's a bunch of gods by the way, and the other one's based by your study.
Mhm.
So you're a hazard wary, yeah, that kind of stuff.
You're a wizard.
Yeah, that's like technically sorcerer, but hot take there by D&D classifications, because isn't it like bloodline stuff? Being a potter.
Right, because that's more of like an innate thing to be a
Yeah.
wizard than it actually.
This isn't a Harry Potter podcast. Sorry.
Clerics, they are the worshippers. The worshippers.
Are you saying Worcestershire sauce?
That's what it sounds. Okay.
I was so ready for that metaphor. I wanted to know what you meant. I was like drift.
I meant to say worshipper, not Worcestershire, but it came off as Worcestershire.
I'm so excited.
The Worcestershire sauce of D&D. They praise the deities. There's many deities in D&D, whether you're basing it off of Greek mythology, of Egyptian mythology, or you make up your own like what I did.
I mean, they have like preset deities, and they're
Mhm.
literally from like everywhere.
Yeah.
So.
The good thing about D&D is you can make up everything and pretend that it was real all along. But
It's
I don't-
real in your heart.
if you love world building, you'll like D&D. And even then, you don't do all the world building yourself. There's a very strong improv element to D&D, which is what I should have mentioned or emphasized at the beginning. It's not like a novel. You don't exactly plan what's going on. You get to... Well, it depends on every dungeon master if they have like limits and stuff like that. And of course, follow your dungeon master and don't make them upset. There's no
they're not your
strict
god.
guidelines. Yeah, they're not the god. They're just the narrator of what you do and what happens.
I personally try to antagonize the dungeon master.
I love it when you do.
It's very fun. It's more
Yeah.
enjoyable for me.
And it's more like speaking as a dungeon master, it's also more enjoyable. It's just like
Oh no,
I
for
wanna
sure.
see,
Make me cry.
Yeah, I want to
Like-
see my friends just mess around and just do some creative stuff because that's more interesting to me
Exactly.
Think
than
outside
punch
the
times
box.
5.
Yes, exactly. Warlocks, shake your hand. You got magic. We have this. There's this like online running joke for a little bit that I had of like you're a warlock if you shake hands and you get magic afterwards because you're making a deal with a patron or someone that has like higher. Most of the time,
worship.
it's. Can we say that in the podcast?
Devil worship.
Okay. So it's usually like a higher power that like gifts you magic. That's the difference between warlock and sorcerer. Artificers is a scientist gone wrong. It's one of the more complex classes because it's a lot of technology and stuff, and I honestly can't deal with that just yet. Fighters, cool swords. They just have cool swords. Or fists. But usually the monk has pow pow. Monks are pow pow. And they have these things called key points, which I still don't get. But I was going to play a monk and then I didn't. That fell through. Blood hunters, edgy.
Edge Masters 2000.
Okay. Blood hunters are just as edgy as you think that they are based on the name. It was a class created by the DM god Matt Mercer, so it's a fun class to play. Bards, the sound of music.
And then you fight Nazis at the end.
You what?
That's the Sound of Music.
Oh.
Have you seen the movie
No, I've
seen
that
the
you're making a reference
I've seen the
towards?
movie. I just didn't. I did see the movie.
You just like stopped the movie after they got married.
Totally.
Like, the end. This was great, guys.
Don't worry about the other like 30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah, so through the sound of their voice and song, they are magical because of it. Ranger. This is apparently the least favorite class amongst people because it doesn't do much, but it's mostly like their focus is like tracking things. And I mean, that's one of their focuses.
I mean, to be fair, if you have a dungeon master who doesn't really vibe with like tracking stuff, then like it can feel useless.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Wizard, fireball. Just fireball. But they have the spellbook stuff, and that was the stuff that they need to learn. So we covered wizard, sorcerer, and warlock. And then druids are hippies. They just like nature and animals and stuff like that.
I mean, they turn into animals. That's like their whole thing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I think that's more than a hippie.
Rogues, edgy 2.0. Most of the time, 99% of the time, they will have a sad backstory, and they are orphans, and their parents were killed, and they witnessed that, and they live in the streets.
When they walk around, My Chemical Romance plays constantly in the background.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd mention like the loner stuff, but I'll hold off.
Right.
Should I hold off on that, or
You could talk about it.
Okay. Y'all, stop playing loners. When someone starts making their characters for the first time, they usually do stuff like, "Oh, I like animals. I'm a druid," or something like that. Like this aspect of themselves. And to be fair, all characters are playing up an aspect of themselves. But like when it's your first character, is usually like you, but in a fantasy world. Except one thing, your backstory. Your parents are gonna be dead. Y'all have such sad backstories. My goodness. And then you're all like, "Oh, I don't talk to anyone. I can't cooperate well." Like, yeah, I get like if your charisma's low, which is like you're talking about your social ability. I guess if it's like really low, you might think, "Hey, I'm a loner. I keep to myself. I just don't talk." It's not fun for like people. It's just not fun for everyone around because everyone's just like, "Hey, we're together. We're gonna play this little fun game," and then you're just kind of holding like the people down in that sense. So, but I will put an exception. If you know how to play and you are experienced in how to play a character, then I consider being a loner is okay.
Yeah.
But like whenever like I'm DMing or I talk to other like dungeon masters, which is DMs, I basically say like, "Hey, no loners," because it's just like for people who are like, I play with a lot of players who are very like entry going into Dungeons and Dragons. It's just easier for everyone along. Mm-hmm. That's my little loner rant.
Oh no, for sure. Because I was guilty of this when I first played D&D the first time. Was it 3 years ago? I think it was 3 years ago. I consider my unofficial start. It was during your birthday.
2 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. It was during your birthday, and I played as I was gonna get to my characters and who I made and like what I was involved with in the stories stuff. But
after this, go take a break. Go drink some water.
So as I was saying, my first ever D&D character that I played during Julia's birthday was Chimerism Dragonborn. That was orange on one side, blue on the other, because I thought of the cats and I thought that was cool, and I thought that would be cool. And they
Cats
were
the musical or like just the animal?
You bring up the Cats the musical one more time in conversation with me, I'm going to lose my mind.
I've been watching a lot of theater stuff. I'm sorry.
Have you heard of Venus, the cat with like that has like two spliced chimerism?
I have heard of that.
And so like one side of
animals.
one side of their face is like black with a green eye, and the other one's like a calico with like a blue eye or something. That's basically like split, like it's split appearance basically. It looks like a 2012 half-face drawing of one's edgy self and the normal self.
You showed me pictures of this.
Yes, I have shown you pictures of this, and I was guilty of that trend. We don't talk about it. But oh gosh, she was so edgy. She was like, "I'm not gonna talk with anyone." She was a druid. She gives more ranger energy to this day, but I hold her true that she was a druid. And she acted so out of character sometimes. She would not try to tame an ankhed, which is like a large praying mantis.
I, for my birthday, played a 3-inch cockatiel who Ari covers their mouth. I played a 3-inch cockatiel, Aarakocra, who was a barbarian.
Oh, this is like Ari's first time hearing this?
Oh, you never heard of
I've never heard this.
You never heard of Kevin?
No, what?
Wait,
I'm
no.
literally so intrigued.
Is Kevin his name? I think his
No,
name is
Kevin was his name.
Okay, no. And he had a lover. They started in a carnival background, right? And then the carnival got detained for weed. They got detained for weed possession. And then so they got into prison, but then Kevin was able to slip by without like incarceration. And then Reginald was his name. Reginald.
His name was Reginald.
So and then like my boyfriend Reginald, who was a pigeon, by the way.
A pigeon.
A
Oh
pigeon.
my god.
Yeah. I got a little letter saying that Reginald and the rest of the crew broke out of prison, and then we had a little shipwreck, and that's the beginning of the little one shot. But yeah, that was Kevin and Reginald.
That is literally the best storyline ever.
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
You want to know who DM'd it?
Who?
Sarah.
Oh, that was the one Sarah.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember her talking to me about
She
that.
was very mad she couldn't get to finish it because like one shots are basically campaigns, which is like a story that you're trying to fit in one sitting, which is usually like 4 to 6 hours, and you're like thinking like, wow, that's a lot. No, that goes by so fast. And
Yeah.
it's so fast.
Especially when you play with, how many did we have?
we had
6 people?
we had 6 people. 5 people.
Yeah. We were like all furries except for Sophia.
Oh my god, Sophia was like a middle-aged dad. I forgot. She was a middle-aged dad.
Named John Smith.
Yeah.
I am obsessed with this campaign. Oh my goodness.
The Lost campaign.
How did I not know about
Yes,
this?
we never got to finish it because Sarah. It was already at like 10 p.m. Like, and then Sarah's mad to this day because she was going to bring Reginald back. Yeah.
Yeah.
She had like a whole plan, and she was like very upset she couldn't do this plot twist on me.
Yeah,
That's
it's a very hidden one shot that is buried in the past. I titled it Shipwreck.
I love Kevin.
I gave you a Kevin plushie for your birthday.
Yes,
that
you
day.
did. Kevin and
Yeah.
Reginald. Damn, I can't top that. I'm sorry.
I was gonna go into the
Cool.
section for like
Great.
Dungeon Master advice, but one of those advices is please tonal check your campaign or your
yes.
one shot, because Julia had that as her character, a 3-inch barbarian cockatiel.
Yes.
And I had an edgy 11-year-old dragonborn that burned down her entire village after a tantrum because she got overloaded with her lightning powers and she just exploded everybody, and then afterwards lived with a wolf as her dad.
See, y'all, this is what I'm saying. Y'all have such edgy backstories. I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw this little like clip of just like, oh, I'm a trash man. I throw trash and I eat trash. And I'm like, honestly, if we're playing again, that's my next character.
The trash man?
I'm the trash man who eats trash.
Mhm.
Yum yum.
Yeah, just some quick DM advice before we talk about more personal Dungeon and Dragon stories. Be storytellers and not controllers. Let things flow and let things naturally happen. And if you're a DM listening to this, don't restrict your players too much. It's not fun.
Dubbed railroading.
Dubbed railroading is when you try to steer your players into one option that you didn't that you mostly like intend for them. It loses once the players like have a loss of agency, you're kind of also just losing them as players. Be a player first. I wasn't a player first when I started DMing. I played once. And
that was the edgy little 12-year-old.
Yep. I don't know what was with me in playing like just teenagers, edgy.
You're playing a
teens,
teenager
but-
right now.
Yes, I am. They're like edgy in a different way though.
You have to expand. I'm playing an 84-year-old. So I
See,
think
your 84-year-old grandmother is so good.
I love her.
No, she's amazing.
I'm emotionally attached to her.
Please.
As you should be. Never have 9 players. Don't do it. Please don't do it.
Sounds like that's some trauma that Julia
It-
advised you not to do ever.
Long story short, about a year and a half ago at December, I had a group of online friends that thought, oh, like let's learn D&D. We can kind of just play it. If we just all happen to be in a call together, we can just boot up a session, right? That's how it works, right? And so I had like 9 people with me, and it's still a flex to this day. If it wasn't for me who offered to be the dungeon master, they still have never learned D&D because I was the only one willing to learn.
To be fair,
first.
you called me at like 8 p.m. like
Yes.
that night. And then I explained to you for about 2.5 hours basic mechanics
Yes.
and a manic craze.
Yes. And eventually those 9 players became 4 or 5.
More doable.
Be much more doable. Leading on to another piece of advice, time is your worst enemy. When you want to play, the world will not want you to play. You got to fight against the world there because people will be busy and communication is important. Communication in everything, not just Dungeons and Dragons, but in this case, Dungeons and Dragons, communicate when you're going to play, reserve a time slot, communicate it, figure it out, and don't leave your dungeon master in the dark, please. They're already planning enough.
That also sounds like a story. What happened? I didn't hear about this one.
There was a time when someone had to leave in the middle of the session, but then, which is, if it's an emergency, it's fine. But that's one of the worst things that can happen, especially when a player was going to leave the campaign forever because of personal interest of not being interested in D&D anymore, and the character died in that session. So, that was kind of important, but no hard feelings for that. It's just, it happens. Scheduling is just the real villain. This is less of advice and more of just opinion, but while online playing is not so bad, in person is much more immersive.
Yeah, I think it was you first DM'd in person like a couple months ago, right? Was that your first time?
Terrace of Champions. That was my in-person thing, and it was so drastically different than when I DM online, because I DM'd online first and then just playing in person.
Please, explain the differences, because I know I've never played online, so what's the difference in that kind of sense?
So with online, sure, there is more flexibility to schedule time because we don't have to go anywhere, which is a good thing. I use mostly electronic resources, so I had my laptop off to the side, then I had my desktop in front of me, and I love Owlbear Rodeo. It was just a simple virtual tabletop platform, and then I just uploaded pictures, and we just talked over in Discord VC. It was fun. It's more accessible. That's why I like online playing, because there's a lot more electronic resources. But to me, in person is much more immersive because you get to see the nuances of everyone's facial expressions and movements. That stuff really matters to get you more invested. For instance,
and also helps if you have very expressive players.
Yes. And I was playing as a devil Tarok or devil deity, basically, and I got to emote as that character, and it was so fun. It was it's one of my favorite interactions of our mini campaign, of just sitting sideways on the chair, and that was fun.
Being a player, seeing your DM go into a position, and you're like, God damn, I know exactly who that is.
Mm-hmm. 2 more quick pieces of advice. Do not be afraid of judgment. If you are, it's not the right group. And then you do not need to do many voices to portray many characters.
You can just change some cadences of your voice, or just your facial expression, the way you sit, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
I don't do voices as a DM. I don't like doing voices because other than Crone Witch, that's my range. So yeah, whether it's changing how I speak, either going a little bit slower, going a little bit more peppier, or how I'm sitting, or the position I'm in, that can also infer okay, this is a different character.
Mm-hmm. And so the previous campaign that we all played together, I like to title my campaigns, and this one was about 5 sessions, 6 counting session 0, I believe. And
Session 0 was so fun.
Session 0 was so fun.
Session 0 was good.
I robbed a man.
Also, oh my gosh, record your sessions. You're not going to regret it. And if you choose to share with your players, feel free to do so you don't have to be annoyed at not remembering anything. Like I said, I like titling my campaigns, and I title it Tarot of Champions because it was based on the D&D system was based on the tarot. So session 0 was at the Austin Public Library in the study room for 6 hours?
I think so.
Quite a while.
I really hope I wasn't too loud.
You were loud at one part.
We did open the door, and you let out a very loud guttural scream, and that was about it. So I think
no one yelled at us, so
I think maybe they were in fear, but it's okay.
It was fine. It's actually more concerning that no one came over.
Yeah.
If we're gonna be honest here.
Yeah, and here I give compliments to Ari because Ari is one of the best role players I know. You're so good.
Okay. Thank you, I guess.
Natural.
Yeah, because they played someone named Bradley.
Bradley. He was a bard and he played the...
Bagpipes.
Yes, I forgot the word. He played the bagpipes and he was really bad at it and nobody liked his music, but I loved playing him.
What's the current characters that we are playing right now before we have to wrap up this episode?
Oh, I guess I'll go first. I'm playing an 84-year-old barbarian named... I forgot her name. It's
Gelf?
been so long.
Isn't that like Glinda or something?
No, it's not Glinda at all.
Gertrude?
Nope, not... Why do you guys like the G names?
I don't know. I remember it being an old person.
It's fine. She's an 84-year-old barbarian.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
College. Damn, guys.
We've
College
been
is
really
hard.
busy.
She embraces tiger spirit. I remember that.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. That's like backstory stuff. I remember your backstory, but I don't remember her name.
Yeah,
I love your
can't remember her
backstory.
name. It's fine.
I'm the DM in the second case.
Yeah, and I play a 13-year-old water genasi or something like a water elemental person who was a deviant painter in their last life and wears swim shorts, has a terrible sense of style. It's already been revealed that he got struck by lightning, right?
Yeah, you got struck by
Yeah,
lightning.
he got struck by
'Cause you
lightning
like
in
lightning.
the beach.
You like lightning children? You like killing children with lightning? This is what you like,
I
Glydel?
have a very,
Wow.
I have a
see.
very weird motif of killing children in D&D.
Please advise, warning, do not kill children. Thank you.
That's our advising thing
For-
for today.
All right, let's wrap up.
Let's wrap up. I do not have the paper in front of me, so
Let's put the O in radio.
tune in to O Radio, and we put the O in radio. Please be sure to follow us on social media. I think that's how
OHS
it
Radio?
goes. OHS Radio. Oh, yeah. I think that's it. I think that's how the paper goes, right?
I think so.
Right. Okay. Thanks for listening to our tangent, everybody.
Next time on The Basement Dwellers, I'm going to be talking about cannibals, guys. This is going to be fun.
Yum.
Hooray.